give me maybe 30 seconds as I post the link live too.
Okay.
If you can post the link in the chat, that'd be great.
Yeah, we're live at the moment. So
That's cool.
I'm going to go to
Country in the world.
comment tracker. And make sure
Not the greatest country in the world, Professor. That's my answer. Just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day, there's some things you should know. And one of them is there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I wonder if the Romans saw the empire declining. Was the ones that said it's coming, ridiculed, accused of lying, called malcontested, only specialized in whining, losers who were mad at the citizens that was climbing. Is that the way they rationalize the country that's crumbling with flag waving, nationalistic, chest thumping? And did they throw parades to say that they were number one instead of fighting the Malays? They gave a hint that they were done. Were they discussing corruption of people in authorities? Most of them to really cope with ever-growing enemies. Unemployment rate, people to fail in infrastructure. See, I wonder if these groups came the way that they were under. And it's hard for me to see the shit and just ignore the parallels. But everybody parties hard, the model being what the hell.
Don't forget to mute your mics during the songs, guys.
With the realization coming barbarians at the gate. Don't command me, cause I'm the one to shell a fire. Now is the gasoline that keeps the flames higher. Knowing if you want to be a slave to your desire, but this is what it looks like at the devil flame higher. Don't command me, cause I'm the one to shell a fire. Now is the gasoline that keeps the flames higher. Knowing if you want to be a slave to your desire, but this is what it looks like at the devil flame higher. 100 million Americans are mostly seen as arrogant. The globe could be on fire and it is scarcely be aware of it. At least that's the impression the rest of the world is given. What was truly nauseating is I cannot argue with it. Too many caught up in their first world problems inside their first world bubble. Their comfort level blinds their minds to the trouble that their government will get into and do it in our names, cause nobody's held responsible, so they just took the reins. How can 90% of Americans want gun control, universal background checks, and they just say no? Like, fuck how you feel, cause we don't have to listen, but the NSA will monitor the emails you have written to see the crimes that you're admitting, like confessions you're submitting. In the process, said as fuck read the Constitution written. Oh, by the way, you're paying us to disregard your problems. It's ironic that the problems us to no one else to solve them. Don't command me, cause I'm the one to shell a fire. Now is the gasoline that keeps the flames higher. Knowing if you want to be a slave to your desire, but this is what it looks like at the devil flame higher. Don't command me, cause I'm the one to shell a fire. Now is the gasoline that keeps the flames higher. Knowing if you want to be a slave to your desire, but this is what it looks like at the devil flame higher. Nowadays, these conspiracies are easy to believe, because the collective consciousness perceives the government deceives. And no matter just how ridiculous a lot of them was seen, the population was spread around with statuses and means. There's a general disgust about things that they don't trust. When the media ain't leading some topics they won't touch. But our attention spans diverted, we got ADD. By those in power seek to redefine what liberty means. Yo, the people on the top give a crap about the vibe, or the access, or the money, or the resources they got. And you part your lips and talk about one man, one vote. I'm laughing at you drinking champagne when they luxury vote. Cause every empire ever existed is falling to dust, and it's kind of ludicrous to think that the exception is us. But laugh me off, I watch us lost in the exact same road, and years from now this empire will be another story told. Don't command me, cause I'm the one to shell a fire. Now is the gasoline that keeps the flames higher. Knowing if you want to be a slave to your desire, but this is what it looks like at the devil. Don't command me, cause I'm the one to shell a fire. Now is the gasoline that keeps the flames higher. Knowing if you wanna be a slave to your desire, but this is what it looks like at the devil flame higher. Don't command me, cause I'm the one to shell a fire. Now is the gasoline that keeps the flames higher. Knowing if you wanna be a slave to your desire, but this is what it looks like at the devil flame higher.
And somehow we're back. Live on Uranus.
Peace, peace, my grand unified brothers.
Peace, peace.
Stoked to be here. Thank you guys for joining in for another Grand Unified podcast. We're sorry we're running a little bit late. Okay, a lot late.
Yeah.
We're having some technical difficulties, and we were trying to sort it out because, as with everything we do, we want to make sure we bring you top quality. So that's my excuse. I hope you accept it.
No worries, no worries. I'm pretty sure people are all just now filing in themselves. So.
Well,
Hey,
I'm
we were lacking it.
Rissa Polaris. I'm here with my boys and very, very, very dope MCs. Tombstone the Dead Man.
What up?
Adequate. I promise you, he's hella dope, especially when he turns his mic on.
Yeah.
And of course, our most beloved Graydon Square.
Only on TV.
We've got some fun stuff to talk to you guys about tonight. It's been an interesting week in the news with all sorts of revelations. I personally, as you may already be aware, am stoked to talk about zombies. We'll get to it later, but it amazes me, not necessarily that we have, we being our United States military, has a plan in case of a zombie attack, but what that plan outlines. So we'll talk about that later. For now, I'm going to throw it over to Gray.
Yeah. So I'm packing a bowl, and while I pack a bowl, I'm reading through our stories, and I think the most I'm excited about is this World Science U. Now, for those who don't know, like, you know, I didn't finish college, for those who don't know, but I'm always a student, forever a student. I always say that. And when I found out about this World Science U, first, the website is just ridiculous. But when I found out about the festival and the movement, it was something that I definitely wanted to talk about. Tombstone, what do you got?
I definitely want to talk about the World Science U thing, of course, and we definitely need to go into about the Indiegogo campaign.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely cover that in a little bit. As soon as we get a little bit more people in, we'll cover the Indiegogo campaign. But that's definitely high on the list.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's exciting news about that. There's a contest that's taking place. We have some extremely dope Brand Unified community members, and we'll talk about them a little bit later as well. But let's get a mic check from Adequate.
Yeah, are you all over there, Addy?
Yo, can you guys hear me? Yo.
Yeah, now we can.
Now we got
Hold on, my mic keeps muting and going off.
whatever you do, don't check it now.
I was going to say, you do know if you type, it'll automatically mute you.
Yeah, if you start talking.
No, I didn't know that. Okay, yeah. I know now. Can you hear me?
It will automatically mute you, yeah.
And it will automatically unmute you when you're done typing.
Look, there's another aspect of Google Hangout, and I'm not going to bash the platform that's giving us the ability to speak, but one thing that irritates me about it is, like, I could be playing my own music, and it says I'm playing registered content.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like, come on, dog. Like, I'm playing my own shit here. It's like it's suing me for downloading my own music.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy,
Can
man.
they do that? That's what I want to know. Like, if let's say Comcast, let's say I'm using Comcast or whatever, let's say they send me a cease order to stop downloading music, and then they find out that the music I've been downloading is mine. Is that still valid?
No, it shouldn't be.
It's going to be interesting, and we'll probably have to save the topic of net neutrality for a whole other show.
Oh, man.
I want to give
That's
the
just crazy.
show all of its own because so many people are unaware of what the death of net neutrality means.
Right.
In this particular instance, yes, it means that that Graydon, Tomb, Adequate, you will be watched and regulated with music, whether or not it's your own. There will be a net. I'm waiting for you guys to get my pun.
We got the
Pun intended.
There will be a net that will capture anybody who's downloading something. And if you're not downloading from their official site with their official certificate
Oh, that's awful.
authenticity, then you're probably going to catch a warning, and it's going to be a major flaw in the system.
That's awful.
That's going to make it suck.
Which is why, we'll get into this when we talk about net neutrality, but it's why I am starting to really believe in mesh networks and the dark net and all of that stuff. We're going to have to take it back.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay, so before we get started, I really just want to let everybody know who's watching us that not only can they watch us, but they can also join in the conversation by adding their comment in the comment section. You can make it a question or a point, and we'll be watching for those, and we'll shout them out as we proceed through the podcast.
Awesome sauce.
All right, so Adequate, for those of you that may not know, Adequate is a really super dope MC. I mean, as a hip-hop head, you know, there are several things that I like about him. First of all, his tone is really unique. He has a really interesting delivery. It's usually on point, but there's a lot of emotion in it, and sometimes that emotion is serious, and sometimes it's that of a comic. So if you haven't checked out his stuff yet, make sure you jump on the internet, go YouTube him, go to his Bandcamp.
Everywhere, man.
Yeah,
Just put in my name.
take a listen to, you know, his joints. He has an album out, Awkward Silence. I highly recommend it. But beyond the music, what a lot of people may not be aware of is that Adequate loves anything to do with reptiles. Like,
Yes.
that is his shit. So I'm going to turn it over to Adequate right now.
You know what's funny is I've known them this whole time, and I didn't even know that.
Well,
Yeah, I'm a herper. I love reptiles.
it's because of his scaly skin. I mean, he feels an affinity for it.
Oh, let me ask you a question before you even get into this article, Adequate. What even got you into reptiles? Because I mean, okay, I can remember when I was real young. I had my dinosaur phase, but then I discovered jets, fighter jets. That was it, dog. I just forgot about dinosaurs. Like, what made you get into reptiles like that?
Well, when I was younger, there's a place in Miami called Bayside, and it's like an outlet where you just go walk around and buy stuff, and they always have these people holding snakes where you can take pictures with them. And since I was a child, I always liked reptiles, and then one day I asked my father if I could get an iguana, and then we went to the pet store. It started with one iguana, then it started with two, then I ended up with like 7 of them in a big-ass cage. We built the cage ourselves, and I just always been into them. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just always been into them, and the only thing is, like, I kind of fell off that for like years, and like now I'm finally back into reptiles again, because that's something that I'm like, I can't give that up. It's something I've always loved. So
Tell me. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I bought my little brother an iguana, and I hooked him up with like everything you could buy, the fat ass tank, every kind of heat rock. I put posters of rainforests up in that mug. and my brother,
they're hard to keep.
Let me tell you, I know this for a fact, because even though I asked my mom permission, can I give this to him? I made them look at it. I made them think about the decision. My mom says, can you take it home and we'll come get it tomorrow? 3 years later, it was still in my house.
Nice.
Wow. Wow.
Nah.
Tell us about this new discovery, because it's actually really, really interesting.
So yeah, and I'm gonna read a little bit of the article, like the first paragraph. It goes, meet the Tyrannosaurus sinensis, the newly discovered relative of the iconic Tyrannosaurus rex. This smaller but by no means less terrifying dinosaur roamed the earth alongside its T-Rex cousin during the late Cretaceous period, approximately 66 million years ago. Its characteristic long snout has earned it the nickname Pinocchio Rex. This discovery has been described in the Natural Communications, and this was discovered in Asia, mind you.
China, right?
Yes, and it makes me think, like, how much of the world we haven't dug up yet, and how many other species that we don't know about that existed before we got here millions of years ago, and we're still able to find out about them now today. And I think that's pretty freaking dope. Because I just think about, what about in 10 years, what will we discover that lived on this planet before we were here? So
yeah, as long as we keep digging holes, we're gonna find some stuff.
Yeah, and I think the more that we find, the more people are going to be bugged the fuck out. Like, they're going to be like, what the hell?
I know you make me. It makes me think of this is a little far fetched, but it makes me think of one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations of The Mist, where they had opened.
I love that.
I love that movie. That movie's dope.
All those bugs came through.
Yeah, they fucked up everything.
there's so much that's undiscovered. There's just so much that's out there, and things that aren't necessarily extinct. They just been on a low key for a long time.
Right.
Yeah, you know, when I was reading the article, one of the things that struck me was that, you know, this dinosaur is a relative to the Tyrannosaurus, which, if you were a kid, it was one of the first dinosaurs that you ever really discovered besides the Triceratops. Like, what's another dinosaur? The Brontosaurus.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that's not even a real dinosaur. They say that they made a mistake with that. It is actually another name. So the Brontosaurus never existed.
Really?
What is it? A Brachiosaurus? Is that the new name for it?
I forgot what the name was, but it's not Brontosaurus. It's another name. They got it. I guess they got the gene sequence or something mixed up with the data. And since people took it and ran with it, we've been saying Brontosaurus when we meant something else the entire time. Since we were kids. So sorry to destroy your childhood, guys. My bad.
Oh man.
So you mean the Flintstones have been eating the wrong burgers all these years?
Yeah, man.
Whack. What's whack?
To be clear, the animal that they discovered exists. It's just that the name type that they gave it, that is rooted in its scientificness.
Right.
The word there, is incorrect. But the actual creature existed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. My favorite dinosaurs were Dinobots.
They was mine too. The Grimlockosaurus. He was my favorite.
I've always liked the Velociraptors. I always liked those.
To kind of jump on what you were talking about earlier, Rissa, about and you mentioned this too, Adequate, is how much of the world and how much of this Earth's history, this planet's history, is undiscovered, based on the fact that we're looking really from one vantage point. By that I mean we're digging. Yeah. I wonder if there's other evidence that would point to other life forms that can't be dug up in a certain way. Like maybe that life was a life that didn't fossilize or wasn't buried in some sort of way, or something like that. Maybe it died out through some disease, and but it's interesting how much it seems like we have to discover, and every now and then which something will pop up and be like, oh, this is interesting, and then 10 years later, like, oh, this is interesting, but it's crazy.
Yeah, they could have died in an environment that didn't allow for the fossilization process to take place. It's a good point.
I'm not even
that means
Stargate.
That means there'll be species that we'll never discover, like ever. We'll never know about that existed here.
I don't know if we can say never, because we're really only limited to the tools that we have access to today. But if we were able to develop, and this is essentially what science exists for. If we were able to develop different methods and mechanisms that would allow for us to not only identify but test for different kinds of organisms that aren't fossil based, then we could potentially discover them. So
I would disagree with you, Rissa, from the perspective of I don't know if we would ever know the complete set of all species that have ever existed on this planet. I just don't think that's a knowable thing. We maybe can predict based on what could have come out of what period of life and what may have survived what extinction period. But I wonder if there were species during that extinction period that could not have survived and there's no evidence left of. How would we ever know?
Well, it's true. That's very well possible. There may be some species that we won't know about, but I don't think that it would be. I think it's limiting to say that we'll never know of species that we can't detect today. I think that we have enough ingenuity and enough promise to say that there is a possibility that we might discover species in a non-traditional method, or one that we presently use.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
An area that I'm always curious about, and to me is almost as exciting as space exploration, is exploring our seas.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because that's one place where we really haven't been able to get very deep in the literal sense. Like,
Right.
we can only go so far, and we've been able to improve our equipment and the sturdiness of it to be able to send it miles deeper. But as far as I know, we really haven't hit the bottom of the deepest ocean and then drilled beneath that yet.
Right. Right. Because there are animals down there that we have never seen, like never seen.
The big tagline in science is that there's probably more undiscovered life in our seas than we'll probably ever discover again, but in our lifetime in space.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true, because as we know, the way that water covers our world changes every few millennia. The land shapes and changes according, to the climate, according to, what's happening with the ice caps, and some places are now underwater that never were before.
True.
So that would sort of encapsulate, life that we have yet to discover to have existed. But the trick is, like, can we get there? And sometimes it's interesting to me, because while I am a huge space geek, I think we sometimes incur a trade-off between space exploration or oceanic exploration, when really I would hope that we could do both at an equal level in terms of effort.
Which is more cost effective? I mean, obviously space exploration is more expensive, right?
Yeah, I would think.
Well, I don't know, because they, both types of exploration have tremendous levels of risk, not just to, human life involved, but to the equipment. I mean, we're talking about, and actually, if somebody knows this, and please put it up in the comments, but I would be curious to know what the difference is between pressure in the deepest ocean waters and pressure in space.
Right.
I would think.
There's no. I mean, you're talking about in the vacuum of space. There's no real pressure at all, and they're kind of polar opposites. But I think that the fuel cost that it takes to break orbit of this planet may cost more than it would cost for the proper pressure protection system in order to explore the depths that we haven't explored yet. Did that make any sense?
That does. Yeah. That does. I'm not sure why. I mean, I guess maybe a good example of our limitations, our oceanic limitations, for me, is seen in the oil drilling. Like, we can't get that shit right.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't have to tap into that without breaking everything.
Right.
But it is really interesting to see, man push his own limits in terms of finding new ways to protect himself and go deeper and deeper. But then also the equipment that we use, it's very exciting. There's a website, and I cannot think of the name of it, but there is a website where they have sent down cameras into deep parts of the ocean. And those cameras just stream. You can watch in 24 hours. And so there's been a lot of speculations as students and scientists watch these cameras and they see shapes that they've never really seen before float past, these cameras. And so it can be really exciting. And I hope, having been a huge fan of Jacques Cousteau, although it's double-fold, Jacques Cousteau is also the reason why I don't get in the water. But I think there's a lot to be discovered in our ocean, as much as I would dare say we have to discover within our own galaxy.
Yeah.
I would say, in kind of closing, me personally, I would be more inclined to kind of, bet against the long odds and kind of go to space, just because I feel like there'd be more planet shaking if we found something in space as opposed to something here on the planet. Although, if we found something here on the planet that was kind of alien in nature, it'd be crazy too.
Like if we found Godzilla, we went deep enough and found Godzilla, that would be...
I just wanted to experience, that's all.
Yeah, we got learned a lesson. That dude does not like to be disturbed when he's napping, okay?
moral of Godzilla is don't fuck with people when they're asleep.
Yeah.
If you love them, let them sleep. Shit.
I know that's right. My whole family knows that's right.
Yeah, 'cause I wake
But
up.
I think if anything, we should still keep exploring and like not stop. You know, because the more we explore, the more we know about our existence and our reality. And I think it's dope to have an understanding about the nature of your reality with all these new discoveries that keep popping up.
Yeah.
At
Plus,
least
I
like
think
once a week, you know.
that once we decide to really be serious about changing the type of energy that we're using, I don't see why we couldn't do both. Why we couldn't, search the stars and search the water. It's just that right now we're so stuck on fossil fuels. It's like it's an expensive endeavor.
Hey, before we go, Adequate, what is your favorite reptile to date? Like, what's the most strangest thing that you've seen that you just can't get enough of?
I would have to say a crested gecko. I like crested geckos. I mean, they're not too strange, but I just like how they look all around. Like they have the eye, like they look like they have eyebrows on their forehead, and they have like spikes and spines all over themselves. It's too dope, and the way that they morph, like different spots and different colorization, like it's ridiculous. I love crested geckos. They're dope.
They are pretty bad.
And leaf-tailed geckos. Leaf-tailed geckos, I love them. They actually look like a leaf, and that's crazy as hell. And that just shows you how evolution works.
What relation is a gecko to an iguana? Are they related?
I think they are related, but I can't really specify that right now. So the truth.
No worries.
The leaf-tailed geckos, I think that might be the first one I get.
So one last question on geckos. At what point in their development do they decide to do commercials for car insurance?
That was fucking awesome.
Hey, everybody loves the spotlight, dude. Everybody loves the spotlight.
I'm not gonna lie, Geico used to have the most hilarious commercials. Then they went to that guy, and it was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Geico had some hilarious commercials in the late '90s, early 2000s.
That's true. That's true.
All right, so I'm going to play my next music block. It's going to be 2 songs, and then we're going to come back and talk about our next couple of topics.
Dope.
And then talk about paying some bills. So I'm going to do some Battle Groove and surprise you guys after that.
Dope.
Always around when the trouble comes. I'm the atheist that gives a bad name to the other ones. You should be gone when my brothers come. If you're here when they get back, then exit will be troublesome. You'll be torched in battle, 1,600 bars apiece and forced to travel. You're just one in the horde of cattle. And since sheep need a shepherd to protect you from a wolf as it feasts on the lesser, disorient your flock like MC Escher. No, I won't throw the billboard away for simply checkers. Just Chester. We used to battle to see who was fresher. Now we call each other hater over Twitter once we're under pressure. The greatest tag team to rep a stable. Grab a table, wreck it at a show, or reject the label. Fuck, check your cable if you're searching for commercial shit. Why you converse is spewed with purpose on the surface. So what you hear is not a test, it's a battle of 2 MCs. So grab everybody from your hip hop crew and watch us clash all over the beat. That shout you hear is not a drill. These whack crews have to go. So instead of selfish battle, we form the squad, doubled up, now we ready to roll.
Yeah, everybody got swag, but we're looking for longevity. Hear a lot of talk, reckless and never brevity. Settling in petty beats through LED screens makes me think these fiends don't know what enemy needs. See, when I was growing up, if you battled it with love, yeah, the boss would spit with malice, but then after dap it up. You live to tell the tale, and that's what's up. Now these actors blasting buck on some gun shit. Battle of the dumb, right? You can see it take you. Shooting for some page views, shocking with the lyrical skills we gain to take you. Play through your ordinary, extraordinary crew. Recorded because you caught it with the tools. Reported to the news on some TMZ tip. You better stay neutral with your DMZ clip. Focus on your weak shit while we dig deep with our eyes on the prize, knowing these MCs.
So what you hear is not a test, it's a battle of 2 MCs. So grab everybody from your hip hop crew and watch us clash all over the beat. That shout you hear is not a drill. These whack crews have to go. So instead of selfish battle, we form the squad, doubled up, now we ready to roll. Yo, you'll find me with a music's playing.
With a newer cadence, fans like my gas killing tracks.
Cause he's Super Saiyan. On defense, we're shutting down your favorite play. Gray and C gas, bringing the impact in a major way.
Barking on cats like we're major pain. Don't need a stack of bills to toss away for fame just to make it rain.
Keep your chain. I'd rather create me a matryoshka brain. And as an MC, bring the yoga flame. Ryukin verses, you already know the name. That's why you're afraid to show your face at the poker game.
Frozen domes like when Novocaine overcame the odds like a soldier, made our way through the golden flames. Tell a tale till we're old and gray. Define age, even with the walking cane, know our poems fame.
And if it's poetry, bet your ass you'll notice me.
Like we were addicts on the dopest street.
So what you hear is not a test, it's a battle of two MCs. So grab everybody from your hip-hop crew and watch us clash all over the beat. That shout you hear is not a drill, these whack crews have to go. So instead of selfish battle, we form the squad, doubled up, now we ready to roll. Every 311 trillion, 40 billion years, I manifest, unmanifest, and reappear. This time around, I'm 15 billion years old, from a place in the multiverse where reference points are zero. The only gods in this bitch are us. We are the species in the labs creating shit from dust. I can build the whole universe in C++, delete the source code in a repetitive series of cycles. You believe in virgin birth, why can't you believe I can hack in the internet of another universe's birth? Spit with reckless abandon, describe my span, the distance sandwich between stars and exoplanets. Be prepared when you step into the duel. Is life the rule of thumb or the exception to the rule? Seems like an awful waste of space if it's just us. We still believe pages when they were making this shit up. And so we're clear your thoughts are private class functions in case the program and analogies haven't sunk in. I'll take it as far back as you can take it. Back when the space we currently occupy was ancient. Everything you ever knew of only happened on this one planet. Found out you evolved and you jumped in panic. Kick back, witness the birth of Homo sapiens offspring. Cyborgs destined to roam the stars like star screens. God can be self-caused, so can the universe. Y'all can't think anything for yourself. You need a ruler first. My lyrics behave like particles and waves. Every field theory united on one page. Dogmatic faith is dying or dead already. The last remaining are telling us to get our weapons ready. Because I doubt they going out without a fight. Them in the future is us in the dark without a light. You don't want me to tell you what battle's like. Life and death data relayed over globally positioned satellites. You don't know when it's going down, so you travel light. It's easy to send troops to die if you believe in afterlife. If I have to be rough, you'll see the flash at night. Half the time I have half a mind to try to stab the mic. Human beings, open source, running updates. You might be living the simulation to find the substrate. You might as well adopt extropian principles. I always asked why, till I was sent to the principles. The likelihood of what they try to sell you is minuscule, it's minimal. I just try to inform you in general. The counter arguments I hear are just pitiful. They just give us something else to ridicule. Lyrically, I'm sinning too. Oh yeah, that's what they say. Name me. Other MC whose lyrics they debate. Turn it up, what the neighbors gon' say before you listen to Gray. Tuck your face safe away in the safe, because I'm coming for it. You gave your allegiance in exchange and got nothing for it. That's what is so abhorrent. At first, they knew they had to break the African woman. She in turn would break the African younglings. The result, we'd have to latch onto something. Keep the body, take the mind. Like soldiers training and breaking slaves in ancient times. Let's take a journey up the Cartesian scale. United type 2 resources building Dyson spheres. And I won't live to see it, but it's nice to hear. Everybody'd have a right to be there. That's why you frightened and scared. Your obsolete beliefs will die with you, and your grandchildren will probably outgrow the God issue. No longer taboo to touch religion. The only thing we need left is an uprising in Muslim women. Yeah.
You know, a more appropriate song to play would have been Brains.
I don't know, man. That joint was dope. That beat was killing it. Like,
Yeah.
and then, you know, once I let myself move on from the beat, I'm listening to the lyrics, and it's pretty deep. It was pretty deep stuff.
I appreciate that. I will say this. It makes me want to go back to producing again because I don't really produce these days like I used to.
That's true. You don't do that as much as you used to.
Yeah, well, I will say this. It's not that I don't want to. It's just that there's a piece of equipment I've been waiting on now for about 6 months that hasn't come out yet. So.
What is that? Will you share?
Oh man, I wish. Oh man, I wish. I'm just playing. No, the piece of equipment that I'm talking about is it's called an MPK 249, and it's basically just another type of controller for production and stuff. And so like it's one of those things where it's like I know that I would make better music with it than what I have right now, so I'm unmotivated to make music with the stuff I have.
Right. I feel you.
There's always that. But our next topic, since I have another opportunity to segue that song, is going to be the World Science U. Marissa, you want to touch on that, or is that a Tombstone?
It's Tomb.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Well, I discovered this. Basically, someone else put me onto it. And you know, he was talking about there are a lot of free sites online where you can take classes in various different subjects and stuff for absolutely free. In 2014, ignorance is a choice. You don't have to be a dumbass.
I thought I had to just be relegated to being a dumbass.
No, you can. No, you can actually be better than that.
I'm glad you actually told me that.
Yeah, you know, and this is one of those type of sites. I believe the physicist Brian Greene is behind the implementation of this site, and I'm telling you, man, it's a whole lot of cool stuff on there. Like me personally, I'm taking the Space-Time and Einstein short course, which and let me show you how they format it. They basically teaching these lessons in the form of these videos, and you have a video series depending on as the lesson progresses, and he has like these two big monitors in the back that illustrate the points he's making in the lesson he's teaching. It's real easy to pick up on. I mean, it's probably one of the best discoveries I've discovered online in a long time. And I think I did a video about it one time before, but I can't stress it enough about people should just go to the site and check it out. Even if you're trying to get like a refresher course on some basic stuff, it's a good place to go. And on top of that, they have some other courses that aren't quite available yet. Warps and Curves, a conceptual tour of general relativity. That course is still in development. Yeah, and you got an Invisible Reality, a conceptual tour of quantum mechanics. That's still in development. And you can even take university courses. That's like
Tombstone. If you select my my image, my camera, I have the site on my screen share. I don't know if you guys. This site is fucking dope, dog. Yeah. Their site is really clean. I love simplistic sites. This is really amazing. So please check out their site, worldscienceu.com. Amazing site.
And you know, the interesting thing is that this was really born of the World Science Festival that takes place in New York, but they have many festivals in other places as well. But the big one takes place in New York. And from that festival, based on the feedback that they got from it, they decided that they were going to take their efforts even bigger. And so they put together this website. They offer all kinds of really interesting courses, and they're all science-based or math-based. But for those of us that might feel a little bit intimidated by scientist-level courses, the cool thing is that it's really open for all levels of understanding, and you can pick and choose what you take. A lot of times they have a beginner level and an advanced level, and the levels range anywhere from like high school geometry all the way up to collegiate physics, and it is really cool. I highly encourage everybody to check it out. If you like science, if you're interested in science, if you want to know more about the scientific method, this is really your opportunity to be instructed by world-class scientists who are currently working on projects right now. Like, it just doesn't get much better than that.
Right. I was thoroughly impressed with the whole setup of the site. And the fact that, like I said, this is absolutely free, man. There was a time when you had to spend a whole bunch of money to get some of this information, and you should jump on it. You know.
Yeah, you know what? We should probably talk about that a little bit too. In an age where information is it's a rich information age, and yet we also live in this concurrent age of ignorance, if that makes any sense. Like, we have more information than we could know what to do with, and yet we choose more and more not to access that information for no reason. I don't know. Maybe that's just.
I think sometimes to some people it can be overwhelming, and truthfully, just based off of some of the things that I see people, you know, post and share that they think is actually relevant information, and it's not. I think we're at a point now where it's so much information out there. If and unless you have a strict standard or what you consider to be evidence, and you're really into researching, it can be overwhelming to see what's relevant, what's not relevant, what's true, what's not true. I mean, on my page right now, I got somebody posting links from the Natural News. They think that these are legitimate sites. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that could be why, even though we have all this information now, it just seems like people are checking out of thinking. You know?
Yeah, and that's one of the main problems. There's so much information, good and bad. People don't know how to decipher it.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
it seems
so
like
too.
whatever meme looks the nicest or more flashy or is subscribes to what you already believe in, it's right. You know, people know how to decipher bullshit with real shit. So.
Well, and also, oftentimes, I think it's 3 points. Oftentimes, that information is presented in a very strategic way to make it look authentic.
Right.
But the second part of that is that you also have trusted resources that are generally trusted by the public to be a news source. And news, in the traditional sense, is a reporting of facts as we know them, not the speculation. And that's why we have that distinction between a news story and an op-ed piece. That's why that exists, even though today they're kind of all in
the same.
But when you have reputable sources that have really built a level of trust, like the Huffington Post, you know, commenting on things that are not really accurate, then you know, people are going to get it twisted. But I also think that while I hold people in general accountable for sourcing facts and digging for information, I think, to be fair, we have to acknowledge that a lot of our technology is really geared up to be social entertainment. For example, all of us have smartphones, or at the very least flip phones with internet capability, and they come preloaded, not necessarily like with a Congress app or a National Geographic app or a scientific journal app, but Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Like, so, you know, when you're battling not only against misinformation, when you're battling against, you know, fancies in disguise as facts, and then you add to that the technology that gears toward entertainment, I think it's bound to trip a lot of people up.
Yeah. True indeed.
Well, I'll say this. I think that people should naturally go into information that they read with at least some mind to try to falsify what they read.
Right.
And if you know how to do that, it's harder for someone to deceive you with stories. Like, anytime I see anything that seems sensational or fantastic, I'm like, okay, let me falsify this. Let me try to find out if this is really what it is, because you know, you can be swept away by the sensationalism.
Yeah, especially if it's something that caters to your bias. So let's start from the beginning then. I think what needs to happen, there needs to be a focus on critical thinking and the analyzation of claims. That if we could start there, that would help, because a lot of people go through their entire lives, and I have family and friends who believe every urban myth, you know, that comes down the pike, and if enough people are repeating it, they'll start repeating it too, like this is just common knowledge, and it's really not. So they go through their whole lives not really knowing how to analyze claims. We got to get these youngins early and show them how to do that so that we don't have another generation of adults that believe that Santa Claus is real or whatever. Like, seriously.
Like, here's a good example, in my opinion. And we can change this, actually, because we're the consumers, and whatever we click on is what they're going to sell us more.
Right.
So a good example is the level of attention that Jay-Z's 100th Problem got, right?
Yes.
So, like, everybody everywhere was talking about how B's sister, you know, whooped on his ass in the elevator, right? Like, I'm not gonna lie. I saw it, I looked at it, I moved on. Like, there was really nothing to see there.
Right.
Beyond, I don't really care why or who or when.
Right.
But what doesn't get hardly any attention are these dope ass teenagers. Like, we're talking sophomores in high school. Who there's a little girl, a little Canadian girl. Her name is Nicole something, who has just created a new HIV test.
Hey, could you say her name again? I'm sorry, it was a little.
It's Nicole something, and I can't think of her last name. I'll look it up and then I'll post it in the comment section. But she's a sophomore in high school. I mean, honestly, when I was a sophomore in high school, I was doing big things, but I was also quite worried about how well my shoes matched my outfit that day, right?
I was a sophomore in high school. I was getting locked up.
Oh.
I wasn't doing shit. So I definitely want to give props to these kids who are actually being successful before they're even adults.
Yeah.
But what's cool about this, and we can totally affect this change, is that the way she got involved and the reason why she developed this new test, which, by the way, returns results faster on the actual testing mechanism, which will help more communities and people in rural areas who don't have access to the current traditional methods of testing. So they will find out sooner, and the testing will become more widely available to people because of her innovation, a 10th grader's innovation.
That's something, man.
So the way that she came about this is that her high school went into partnership with the local university there. So those high school students would go in and work with college students and their professors in labs and have the opportunity to actually get their science on. So when we talk about kids, first of all, kids soon enough will be adults, and we adults will soon enough be seniors, reverting to that childlike state. And we need them to take care of us, and we need them to innovate for us, so that things like, I was just reading the other day, there's this new robot. It's still obviously in test mode, but the robot has been designed to help seniors. It's like a robot caretaker, and Lord knows my grandmother needs that robot. But
that's right.
If my sister, my 16-year-old sister, and her friends aren't actively involved, engaged, and educated in all the different kinds of sciences that there are, who will build that robot?
Right. And so, you're absolutely correct.
And it's also interesting to know it's not just this World Science U, like a whole bunch of super elitist colleges and universities over the last really 3 years have been prominently offering their courses online for free. Now, you're not going to get that collegiate diploma.
Right.
You can't take an MIT, a Harvard, a Stanford course and become educated for free.
Yeah.
In fact, I spend, this site that Tombstone brought up reminds me a lot of iTunes U a little bit, although that's more of a, iTunes iTunes platform exclusive sort of thing. This is web-based, but it reminds me of that because I tend to watch one of those Harvard lectures or Stanford lectures or MIT lectures on programming or physics at least some point in the week or twice in the week, just because it's available.
Right.
So, if you know about stuff like this, then I think more people take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
So I think this is a part of the show where I'm gonna try to pay some bills, but first, I'll wait on that. I'll wait on that. So let's talk about DC and the Smithsonian Museum.
Man,
If you're in that area in July, please don't miss an opportunity to come out and hang out with Grand Unified. We don't come together often. We're usually in our own corners of the country and the globe. But when we do come together, it's usually for a pretty significant event. What we're doing on the 27th, is it 26th or 27th?
26.
26th, I'm sorry. What we're doing on the 26th of July is an event called the Celestial Wars. And we're basically debuting a new project, a new song, basically having a gathering, an event for all Grand Unified members and associates and everything. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a day at the Smithsonian Museum. We're going to have lunch. We're going to take a tour. We're going to sit down, watch a documentary, and that sort of thing. So if you're interested in this sort of thing, we need your help in funding to make this event possible. So we started an Indiegogo campaign, a crowdfunding campaign. And I'm going to be honest with you, we've only had it up for a week, and we're almost halfway to our goal. And so for the people who have contributed, it always brings a smile to my face because, honestly, I never knew anybody would give money to anything I was ever a part of. So it's hilarious when I get a chance to see what people really think of us when they contribute the way that they do. So from me personally and everybody at Grand Unified, I thank everybody who's contributed so far. Having said that, we still need more help. We still need a little bit more of your help and contribution. So I don't know if you are looking at the links or whatever the case may be, but at the bottom of my name there should be the Indiegogo campaign link. If you click on that, or not click on it, but if you copy that link and you go to that page, it'll give you all the information on how to pledge and how to get the perks and all type of stuff. So Marissa, you can tell them about the contest. I'm gonna hit my beer.
I'm like, this dude over here keeping it real, man. Suddenly, I want to listen to some Ice Cube or something like that.
In the hood.
I would, I like beer, but I prefer a dark beer. I can't. The lighter
You're stout woman.
Yeah, the lighter the beer, and I'm gonna share TMI, but we're fam. The lighter the beer, the gassier I get.
Oh, nice.
It's better for everybody.
Yeah.
My beer dark.
Absolutely. Dark beer for you then.
So let me tell you though, because this is, the closer we get to this show, the more excited I am about it for many, many reasons. And it's the fact that we're amping up, we're getting our set list together, new beats are being laid down. There's going to be all sorts of premiere sounds happening at this event. We are, we just get closer and closer to hanging out at the Smithsonian. We already have, I think the last time I looked, we already have 17 people coming to us, coming to the Smithsonian with us.
Yep.
That is hella dope. I predict, that we're going to actually have to open that up a little bit and offer a few more slots because, what a tremendous day. We're going to go to the Smithsonian, walk through the museum, sit down and watch a Neil deGrasse Tyson narrated flick on the dark universe. We're going to sit down for lunch in the Natural History Museum. All of this on show day. You're hanging out with the artists before the show and getting a chance to really kind of see their process and how they prepare and what inspires them. And essentially, in that effect, you're kind of contributing to that show that evening.
Right.
So I'm excited for that. But also, in the midst of putting together this campaign, we had a community member, a GU community member, who hit us up and said, look, I want to support GU. I want to rock that GU gear and get the GU music, but I don't want to hold one of the limited spots, for somebody to be able to go and attend the concert because this individual who wants to remain anonymous isn't able to attend.
Right.
So his next offer was, I want to give my ticket to somebody who wants to go but maybe can't, afford to do it. Their pockets are a little bit light, like a lot of people. And we said, of course, we'll totally do that. We'll turn it into a contest. We'll ask people to tell us what their favorite GU artist song is, and then we'll pick a winner. And while we were discussing that, he leveled up his donation to the point where we were able to open it up to three tickets to go see the show.
Wow.
So because our fans and our supporters are so dope, there's a contest going on right now. When we reach the 2,000 funds raised milestone marker in our campaign, we will select 3 winners to come see us live. You'll get seated in the VIP section with the artists. All you have to do is go to our Facebook fan page and tell us who your favorite artist is, Grand Unified Artist is, what your favorite song is, and why you relate to it. Post it in the comments section, and that's it. That's all you got to do to get a chance to go to the show for free. So check that out on Facebook. But then the third thing that I'm really excited about is that we have some dope people who have gone above and beyond to contribute, and we want to shout them out tonight.
Yes. Yes.
So the first shout out goes to Shy Gar. He is dope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shy Gar. That's a dope ass name. Sounds like a video game character.
Yes, it does.
I'm using Shy Gar. You can't use Shy Gar. You whooped my ass with him last time. God, he chose too many fireballs.
Aaron Toft. We want to give Aaron major props for supporting us.
Thanks, Aaron.
Sorry, Aaron, your name is not as cool, and it sucks to you, but you're great. You contribute. Awesome.
I don't know. It's pretty close to Laura Croft, Tomb Raider.
See? Yeah.
And then I want to give a very special shout out to Necro Dave, who has been supporting continuously. Like, I see him. You think I don't see you, Dave, but I see you come in and make a contribution, and I see you come back a couple days later and make another contribution.
Right. Nice.
You are dope, sir. You are dope. And then also big ups to Noah Wiles, member of Sunday Assembly LA. Noah Wiles has been referring many people to the campaign. I think somewhere like around 10 people to our campaign. So thank you for sharing the news. Yeah. And then also big props to Chris Main, Jason and Amy Howell, self-proclaimed biggest GU fans.
They're definitely in that category for sure. No question.
Props to Vlad Belvich. Kyle Ashton, dope dude.
Vlad's a cool dude, by the way.
And then also I want to shout out, and I'm going to try to say this right, Sanji Selvaraj. And not only is he a hip-hop head, but he's also an indie toy maker, and you can find him on Instagram at Brown Noise.
Yes. That's my boy. That's my boy, yeah.
But, you know, our fans are dope, but I have to say, I don't know, Greg, do you have that queued up at all? Were you able to get that?
Oh, I do have that, actually. I did have it kind of queued, kind of not queued, but you know how I go.
You really love me, baby. Like to say you do. Why don't you tell me so? If you really do.
I figured I'd have it ready for you.
If you don't recognize that, if you're not only a hip hop head but also a soul fiend like I am, you will know that that is the wonderful Barbara Mason. And I have to tell you guys, soccer moms ain't got nothing on GU moms, okay? Big shout out to our very own GU mama, Barbara Emerson, who, for the love of her child and the love of what we do in Grand Unified, made a tremendous contribution.
Yep.
Thank you, Miss Emerson. So those are our shout-outs tonight. We appreciate your support. We're almost there. As of today, we're at 40%, and with your help, we'll get to 100%.
Oh, we're going to make it.
Oh, we're going to make it.
I do. You believe in me. You believe in me.
Make me break out the old sampler. I got the MPC right here.
tell me so.
What a beautiful song.
You know, the thing that I love about Barbara Mason, and I mean, if you know her catalog, she's definitely telling a story. That lady has loved and lost many times over, but you know, she finds a way to carry, you know, all of her sentiment in the tone of her voice. She's just pretty amazing talent. If you don't know Barbara Mason, go check out her catalog. She is dope.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm gonna play some more music, but first, a little correction earlier. Marissa, you were talking about the young lady who made that discovery, and it'd be only right if Grand Unified mentions her by name. Somebody submitted that her name was Nicole Ticea, Ticea. I know I butchered that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out either. If it was Ticea or Ticea, I don't know. It's Canada, so sometimes it's French, sometimes it's British. You don't know.
Right.
Canada, thank you for producing a masterpiece. We appreciate it.
Here.
I'm going to play you some music, and we're going to come back and tackle our third topic, and let's do it. What am I going to do for you guys? Oh, let's do this.
Yeah. 1, 2. Ryukin versus Super GU. Sick gross rap in your big toe back. My mucus free flows, nothing to pick your nose at. These times are scary. Invade the wrong countries and you get your own library. We still there. While you say you pray for the gays, they still queer. Deities as ineffective as spilled beer. Chill here while children are hungry and live in fear. That's why I'm always trying to spit something into your ear. Fuck a king of a dictator's ass, stuff the dreams of those from whom he was, sucker lame. Puffin' green, studying charged particles. If it's science, I love me a large article. Keep your gossip, give me the spectroscopic. Beware of any absolutist professing logic. Who next in line to drop it? Like a bomb being deployed from the pilot's cockpit. Vietnam. Don't be afraid of the waters, the sea is calm. Only your naval region farther than people are. I won off at a sneaky barge. If it wasn't for the luck of the draw, then we'd be Mars.
If it wasn't for shitty industry, then we'd be stars. The needy, we feed them bars. Our enemies try to spar. The greedy, we see the swords. But really, we eat the scars. Atom bomb battles, watch the TVs on Channel War. Who's your guard? Is it Foxy or fleeting need to be lost? Cheating people who sleep on my fleet will be feeling lost. Kneeling to breach the ceiling with thoughts you really are. Think we're co-signing your garbage facade. We really are.
My pros proposes carcinogens in your lymph nodes. Hectic cold flows, disgusting spitting like I'm lick toes. I've been dope, brick flow hard as fuck when I rip those like nipples that beneath snow. Massacred from the intro is how GU leaves the knees. Yeah, we gain respect. The Jesus rejects Armageddon when we get y'all hooked on the phonics and great gets and in depth tongue crap rap enemies like V-Tech. Yeah, we best.
And we beast and breeze beast. These rap quotes you repeat. GU some key freaks with lyrical missions that he seek defeat. We never, my team's deep, we 3-beat, we eat sleep this music. You'll lose us with cheap beats. Got game like E3, you'll be boy with weak knees. Tracks too dirty for you unworthy neat freaks. Oh shit. Here comes the cannonball, I'm linked with the master sword, slashing all you can and
we come tromping through the universe, assault with infinity gauntlets. On a curb, stomping all your deities before they can even start shit. To rip off and mount their skulls like a trophy I thought they were supposed to be. A powerful and omnipotent, that shit wasn't shown to me. The words of written become the scriptures that replace the whole shit. Cause even though they're explosive when they spoken, it's like a massive gnosis. You rappers have halitosis, cause everything out of your mouth is shitty. I pity so many of these zombie rappers, I feel like I'm living in Raccoon City.
Question with this, we fucking lyrics be sounding like shit. I keep pushing on your amygdala, bitch. Keep giving your heart, Grand Unified stick. You niggas in dirt, steadily talking about you that work. I think you ain't real, your mind is too slow. Mine is affirming my hands that hit you. Super phenomenal rhyme that I kill. Well on my way to mastering this skill. You thinking you hard, that shit is so sad. I hail from the bull and all I see is red. I'm starting to brew, charging on you. This is what lyrical violence do. We're riding on you, dividing your crew. Never see gifted after I strike. Silencing you niggas ain't got the who. Sonically screw with your mind, what I do. Can't fuck with my crew. Through the night, Chevron is what we send you. Your destiny's death to land the damn little kids that's left. And I kinda might shit squeeze out your breath. Going up against that's bad for your health. This pound you package is two. Constricting your bladder so right to the glue. Battle, let's just swallow A2O2. A lonely ass fate is awaiting you do. 6 at the underway, career rule. Challenges to us, there are too few. Cool, powers exclusive for the fool. Boo, never a cue. Nerve conditional fool. If you the bull, motherfucker, we a cue.
This some rough shit. I shouldn't even be playing, but it's got 3 verses, so I'm playing. Now you.
Yeah. 1, 2. Fly passes, I like grass on a flight craft, taking shots at your skydive. Grab the world on your iPad. In an age where you can still do time for a dime bag. Why ask? The only thing more dangerous than a question is its answer in my rasp. They had these fools conditioned. Take it from me, I grew up and went to school in the system. Basically, fake victory and stage defeat. That's how they get you. Hide false wins and hide the issues. I can break it down if they can't but make it sound, but they don't. So fuck it, let's just go and take the town. Yeah, maybe those who discovered truths got sick and tired of being the ones hanging from the noose or lit on fire. Fuck that. So they'll just keep it to themselves then. Guardians of knowledge, while we think of them as selfish.
A man that always lies told me that he always lies. I stood immobilized with surprised open eyes. The spirit of his words hit me like a poltergeist. A paradox can open up a world you don't realize. Now sit and get your lesson on infinite regression. You know you've won or you've lost if you quit the guessing. And if you say something true, they'll do their best to lessen what you said, cause a lie is supposed to get attention. A lie lends itself nice into its own dissection. The truth requires intellect and a bit of testing. You try to build your castle where the sand is made up of imagined made up facts. You're in for a collapse and aggravation. There's nothing wrong with imagination. It lights the fire of our innovation and creation. But if your foundation's made of that, you're making a mistake. And then he said congratulations on your graduation.
Check it out. I binge on information, it's straight from the norm. They'd rather spin psychopop culture, stay uninformed with eyes stuck to the TV. Sleep-deprived species, chemicals in your face. Drink this, eat these, it's troublesome when even the sheep are like not another one, just another someone who won't see where I'm coming from. So I take the time to try to master the kung fu. They're casual, they settle for what passes as functional, not concerned with what's factual, because real knowledge is taboo to those who want to put something past you. I stay under my headphones and study the things less known. They would rather question the methods in which they're best shown. Instrument of change, feel the vibrations. No time wasted when you spend your time chasing inspiration for social issues and innovation. Mars missions in our future generations. Wow.
I saw that on the playlist and I was like,
Dude, that is crazy dope. I don't know what project that's going to be on, but it's dope.
I don't know what that's going to be on. That was something that kind of just manifested itself in the G universe. I had to play that.
Who was on it? I recognized some of those voices.
Yeah, Johnny Hoax and Sickness.
Yeah.
They murdered that.
Yeah, they did.
Johnny Hoax said, "A man that always lies told me that he always lies. I stood immobilized with surprised opened eyes."
Oh.
That's one of the greatest openings I've ever heard in my life.
Mm-hmm.
That's so retarded. A man that always lies told me that he always lies. I stood immobilized with surprised opened eyes. God damn. That's crazy. That's a poet.
Yeah, that's poetry.
Yeah.
Not only that, but it's also a pretty good segue into our next topic.
Oh, yeah.
So, we're going to talk about zombies because why not? Why not talk about zombies?
Well, I mean, I'm not as familiar with this particular article here, but I will just say, as a representative of death, I don't like zombies. They go against the order.
Dougal.
What's dead should stay dead, you know. Like,
I'm glad you mentioned it because I'm gonna give you a few points from the article. But then what I want to do is I want to talk about the nonsense within the actual plan. But then I want to talk about the reality of
yeah,
zombieism,
right.
which we sort of kind of talked about last time, and it's probably going to get talked about again because I heart zombies. But so the story goes that the United States military really, actually, factually does have a plan in place in case of a zombie apocalypse. Now, you know, when you first hear that, you're like, come on, guys, put the Resident Evil down. Put it down for a little bit. It makes it, you know, they've since been, you know, since it's gotten a little bit of press, they've been trying to pass it off as, well, it was a creative plan for training purposes, but they really meant it.
Yeah, they did.
In there, and in the article, they outline the different possibilities of a zombie apocalypse. The plan is actually, it's called CONOP 8888, and what that stands for, let me give the exact wording because it's hilarious. Oh, there. No, I lost it. Dang.
You looking for the article?
No, I'll get back to it. I was trying to give you guys the actual name because that's kind of like the nickname for counter zombie dominance, and it's from April of 2011. So you know, I mean, I may have to go back a little bit, but me thinks that somebody's been watching The Walking Dead a little bit
too much.
But so the outline is, and there's actually a disclaimer in the actual file that says this plan was not actually designed as a joke. This plan was not actually designed as a joke.
Wow.
And so they outlined several things like training tools. They also went through like this fictional training scenario, and then they talk about like the different possibilities of zombieism, and it's really under the zombie threat summary, and they highlight different zombie adversaries. So one of them are what they have dubbed as CZs, chicken zombies. Okay?
Oh, nice. Okay.
And chicken zombies do occur, although I would argue that with a little bit more research and factual basis, they're probably not actual zombies.
Right.
What happens is, you know, farmers try to euthanize them with gas, and then they bury them, and then the chicken's like, fuck that, and they claw their way out. They claw their way out, and then they, you know, the farmer's all like, what the fuck? I thought I killed you. Zombie chicken zombie. So our military has outlined that. And then they also talk about, and this is where I think the nonsense starts. They talk about EMZs. And if you don't know what that is, an EMZ, as defined by our authorized government officials,
that we pay taxes to.
Our tax dollars hard at work, people.
Is evil magic zombies. So yes, our U.S. military is planning to protect us against evil magic zombies.
Nice.
Which is hysterical to me because while many of us love zombie lore, and by many of us I mean me, there are actual cases in nature of zombieism.
Yes.
And what it really boils down to is usually a parasitic type organism taking over a host body to really, in essence, enact or, you know, kind of show that they really are the fittest survivor in nature. And they do one of two things. They either use their host as a way to reproduce directly within that host, and they use that host's body as sort of like a domicile, or they're super fucking zombie crafty, and they use that host's body to attract the host's natural predators, which are the perfect carriers for their genetics. So that, for example, if a bird picks up a cockroach, the parasite then goes into the bird drops the poo in all sorts of different locations. The poo is eaten by other cockroaches and even roly-polies or potato bugs, whatever you call them, for whatever region you're in. And so it's really about reproductive sort of rights. And to me, it's a perfect example. Zombies in nature are really a perfect example of survival of the fittest.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they have a survival plan, the United States government, as a person who's been given an underwater basket weaving task, I can honestly say that this was probably someone giving a job to someone like, all right, you want to be an asshole? How about you write me a defense procedure for zombies? Like, sounds like discipline. Like, it doesn't even, just reeks of like, oh, you want to be an asshole? How about you write me a defense strategy for how to protect against zombies, since you want to open your mouth in the meeting this morning? Like, that's what it sounds like. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure it's a real thing that someone didn't want to get their pay docked for or have to, do something crazy. But as a person in the military, this reeks of that, man. I don't know. But what do you guys think?
All I can say is that military planners assigned to the U.S. Strategic Command in Omaha, Nebraska, starting in 2009,
they were good.
Are responsible for this.
Okay, wait a minute. Can we highlight Invincible's comment of chicken zombies? Poultrygeist.
Oh, wait a minute. That's great. Poultrygeist. That is, wow. That is 5 levels great right there.
Oh, that's good.
Who's there win the internet?
You know what? He's the dude that came up with that great tool last week, right? You can lead them to knowledge, but you can't force them to think.
Yeah. That was invincible. He's invincible. He's undefeated so far on the internet.
I guess what I think is interesting about it is that, there are at least 5 or 6 different documented cases of zombieism in nature, ranging from ants and cockroaches to, even crustaceans in the sea, like crabs.
Right.
So, and that crab zombie is something wicked. The parasite actually burrows into the crab and then embeds itself in the sexual organs of the crab. Wait, I'm not even done. Still housed under the crab shell will attract male crabs to come over and bow chicka bow wow and spread its wings. Like, I was like, doing the most kind of zombie.
Yeah. Most for real.
God doesn't exist, because if a God did exist, he would not allow that thing to exist. Like, that's just, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No, that nothing. I mean, only nature can produce something like that.
Yeah.
If I had choice over that, I'd be like, nah, that's just what? No, I'm not leaving that around. Are you crazy?
Well, if Loki was the only god, I could see him doing it.
I could see him doing something.
He's a trickster. Yeah, like.
Gotcha, bitch. Stick your dick in that.
I mean, I'm not, I'm one for puns, so I have to say that takes crabs to a whole nother level.
The puns just keep coming. Too many puns. I can't take it anymore.
He's the Punisher.
He's the my God.
Don't play. That's gonna be on my lower third next time. That's it. You guys, Punisher.
Oh, I got nothing. What are you gonna do with that?
I'm gonna wear it. That's what I'm gonna do. But anyway, I guess it bothers me because, we're talking EMZs. Like, if we're gonna talk about zombies, then, let's keep the lore and the hype of it relegated to Hollywood and video games, and
Right.
if our national officials are going to speak on it for whatever reason, whether somebody got potato peeling duty with that,
Right.
then let's keep it to the facts. Yes, there is zombieism in nature, and yes, it really is something that at some level we should be concerned about in partnership with like the CDC, because it's a parasitic organism that could fuck us up.
Right. 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 But the moment you put magic, you insert the word magic into anything, yeah, you done fucked up the whole scenario. Like,
and then evil magic, as if the need to distinguish it from light magic.
From the good magic that's out there. The fuck out of here, man. We paying for that, man. We are paying for that. All that.
What do you think, Ad? I know you and I talk a lot late at night sometimes, and we've talked about movies before, and I know you like horror flicks, and I mean I'm a huge horror fan, and as a fan I'm kind of disappointed because nothing's really scary anymore. Like
That's true.
They flatlined with it.
It's gore. It's gore now. It's no suspense. It's just gore.
There's a bunch of like gags.
Things that scared you when you were younger really weren't scary. It was because you were too young to realize how dumb it was.
Right.
Like Freddy Krueger is. If Freddy Krueger was a real thing and he invaded your dreams, you would at some point realize that you are the creator of your dreams and you'd fuck him up.
Right.
But when you were young, you didn't realize that, and so you think, oh shit, Freddy Krueger is gonna come and stab me in my ass, and it's just like, all right, no.
Freddy was funny. He was kind of a G.
He was. His humor was. Who do you think had a darker humor, him or Chucky?
Oh.
Damn.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Isn't it a tough one?
Yeah, that's
tough. That is actually, because Chucky was he was a sadistic little fuck. Like his whole existence was about fucking with people and vengeance. That's all he wanted. Then again, that is the same with Freddy. Freddy was haunting specific people who were descendant of those that fried his butt.
Right. Yeah. And mind you, they fried him for good reason.
That's right, they did.
He was over there diddling the babies. You can't be diddling the babies, man. Nobody's going for that. Nobody's going for that, man.
The only show I know you can get away with that is a Game of Thrones.
Right.
You can get away with slapping your mama on Game of Thrones. Like you could be watching Game of Thrones and literally slap your mother and get away with it because you're watching Game of Thrones. And that's not to say that I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, because on the scale of 1 to 10, I'm about a 6.5, 7.
Mm-hmm.
But trust me, that show will allow motherfuckers to get away with all kind of shit.
Wow.
I don't know. I just, that's a hard question. That's a hard question to answer. I don't know that I really can answer that as a fan. But just to give you an understanding, Gray, like when I was 7, I was watching Poltergeist, no problem. Like there were no nightmares or anything.
Right.
What about accidents?
I am going to be honest and say that I did think twice about letting the TV stay on back in the day when snow hit the channels at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know about that in digital cable days, but back in the day when you actually had to turn the knob at midnight, you would get that snow.
Yep.
Hey, you know what movie that actually scared the shit out of me when I was a kid? Probably not a movie that's scary per se, but Firestarter.
Firestarter? That is so great. You don't even know how many afternoons I put on my tights and pranced around my tights and my leotard trying to start fires with my mind. Like, I wanted to...
Oh, you're an asshole for that.
Are you kidding me? It was so scary. That was Drew Barrymore at her cutest.
Yeah.
Oh, man. She had some pretty cute moments. Wasn't she in E.T.?
Yeah, she was in E.T. Yep.
Damn, Drew Barrymore's been killing it forever.
Yep, and big movies.
Killing it. Mm-hmm. Killing the whole game.
And on so many levels, like I could take her in E.T., in Firestarter, and I can be just as entertained by her in what is that with Adam Sandler?
50 First Dates?
Yeah.
Now, I think the only movie in horror flick history to ever have scared me to the point where I had troubles at night because of it is an old ass movie called Vampire Circus.
Oh my god!
I was like
the worst thing ever.
Clowns and vampire. Come on, man, it's over. It's over. I was like 7, and I'm watching this, and then here's a bad thing. It's in black and white, so it's the whole dynamic. And this is back when they really set the mood and the tension and all this other stuff, along with the vampires and the clowns. Yeah, it tore me up. That's the only movie ever that ever scared me.
What about you guys? What are some of your scariest movies or favorite scary movies? I might ask the viewers to throw them up in the comments. And in the meantime, Aid, what was yours?
And don't clown me for this, guys.
I'm clowning.
And I just recently saw it, and I was like, yo, what the fuck was wrong with me? The Birds.
Oh,
I haven't seen it.
The Birds. That movie bugged me out. Like, I was
I've
scared
never
of
seen The Birds. I hear it's pretty freaky, but I haven't seen it.
It's pretty freaky.
That shit bugged me out. Like, they poking the eyeballs out and shit, starting fires. Like, I was like,
hold up. You know what used to fuck me up when I was younger? The ending to a lot of the Outer Limit episodes.
Yeah,
I'd be watching that shit, and then like the alien would come down and be like, "You killed 2 of our kids, so we're gonna rape your whole planet." It's like, wow, fuck.
I hate when that happens.
Okay, so I got you with that. The one that used to get me that I would really prefer just to keep the sound down while the opening started was Tales from the Dark Side. Like that intro was so creepy to me as a little kid that
it's creepy. It's definitely creepy.
But you know what, Aid? The Birds is actually pretty scary, and if you don't already know this, ravens are fairly unique and known for their intelligence, but the cool thing about them is that they have the ability to recognize human faces, okay? Yep. So if you're one of those kids who was fucking with birds, the ones that like to make all the pigeons fly and all that stuff, and you think they're helpless little birds gonna fly away, you do that to a raven, and he will look at you in the face and mark you as an asshole and remember you. But not only that, he will go and tell all his other little raven friends that dude is an asshole, and they will remember you.
And what do they call a clan of ravens? Like a murder or something?
A murder.
A murder. Those are birds.
Hold on. Wait. Oh, okay, that's even though they call him a murderer?
Yeah.
A bunch of crows are called a murder. So you know what's up.
Yes.
And you know not to come through their hood bopping too hard.
We
know.
You're on the wrong side of town, you're going to get it.
I can understand the head crow. I can understand the head crow coming into like the crow meeting and just being like, we're going to be known as murder from here on out.
Oh.
You guys with me? You guys heard of this shit?
They're the original Murder Inc.
Yes. It's murder.
It's murder.
Yeah, man.
You know what movie jacked me up, and I remember I was so little. I have no idea why my parents took me to the theater to watch some of these flicks, but they did. And I remember being in the lobby and being so scared that my stepdad had to take me outside, and we watched the movie from behind the actual theater door, just like peeked open just a little bit so I could peek through and see what was going on, but not see everything.
Right.
And it was Cujo. Y'all remember Cujo?
I remember Cujo. I remember
the dog,
Cujo.
right?
But I kicked him in his fucking throat. Fuck that.
No joke. Are you kidding me?
No, I would have freaked out. Look, I was scared of Beethoven when I was a kid.
Look.
It was a big ass dog, though.
I was freaked out from Beethoven, all right? So I can't talk shit at all.
Man, Cujo, when the rabies had completely taken him over, he was a hideous sight. All kinds of foam and stuff. He was hideous.
Scary. And I just remember that scene where the mom's in the car and she's got her little son with her, and they're going to get out and ask for help because the car breaks down, and Cujo comes onto the car, and she's got her car door open. She's trying to fuss with her kid's seatbelt so she can get him out, and at the same time trying to roll up the passenger side window so the dog doesn't bite his head off. And I just remember being like, I can't watch this.
Hey, now that you bring that up, as we're nearing the end of our show, I propose that we start a tradition at the end of the show to give props to something or someone on the internet that doesn't know about us at all. And I would say that this week, that cat that saved that kid from that.
Oh, yes.
Deserved this week fucking recognition, because I saw that video and he came out like he was ready to give his life for that kid. I've never seen a cat act like that, and that was pretty dope. I mean, I don't know
that dog was backing down too.
Yo, he should be recruited into the Avengers, yo. Like, he's a hero. like seriously. Like, but I will say this. I wonder how much of an anomaly that is, because I have 4 cats in this house. And let me tell you right now, none of their punk asses would have done any of that.
It's because you talk about them like that, man. Why would they?
No, let me tell you, that cat is real, very, very real, and cats are bold as funk.
Yeah.
I have 2 cats and an 85-pound German Shepherd. One of my cats is a 7-pound teeny little something. And that cat will attack the dog if she feels like the dog is encroaching on even just an inch of her space. Casey has no fear. No, I mean, the dog will eat her. Like, eventually the dog will be like, that was cute, it's snack time.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's like the guy from the neighborhood. It's like, yo, I got a homie in prison. Like, the cat's like, yo, I got a homie and it's a leopard. So if you want to fuck with me. The dog's like, yeah, well, we'll wait till the leopard gets here. I'm going to eat.
Right now you're going to get eaten.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what, Troy Peterson, peace, Troy.
Troy, what up?
He brought up a good movie, and this is still one of my most favorite flicks of all times, The Thing.
Yeah, that was a good movie. That was a good movie.
I think I was more creeped out by Howard the Duck, but I understand where you're coming from.
Howard the Duck.
I understand what age you're going for.
Howard the Duck.
I've had nightmares over Howard. Like, seriously.
Fuck Howard the Duck, yo.
Dude, Howard.
Of a goddamn freaky thing. What the fuck was that all about?
Don't even feel bad about it, because I've seen him get his ass whipped in comic books numerous times. He's not that tough.
He deserves it though. He deserves that shit for creeping me out. Legit.
All right. Well, if you guys have anything else that you guys got going on, now's your time to shout it out. I'm gonna end the segment with some more music. So, Adequate, what you got?
I'm just working on another project, but I'm not gonna leak it too much. But look out for it. It's coming soon.
Dope.
Tombstone?
Oh, well, you know, there is so many things I could say.
Yeah.
But people will find out about that soon enough, and let me just say that when you do, you're going to enjoy it immensely.
All right.
Yeah, I already know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I know what he's talking about, and yes, you will enjoy it. Rissa?
I'm just, thank you guys for hanging with us tonight. We're going to do it again next week. If there's something that comes to light, or a new discovery, an interesting news topic, put it up on our fan page, and we'll take it into consideration for our next podcast. And in the meantime, a huge thanks, a tremendous thanks to all of the folks that have supported us with the campaign. We absolutely couldn't do it without you, and we are super, super stoked with every day that we get closer to July 26th, and chilling with you, kicking it with you, and rocking out with you in Maryland.
And when we say that, like, people don't know, like, unless you've been to a GU event, like, you know, I can bring up a person who actually knows this, like PJ Neely or like Oakland or somebody like that. Like, when you kick it with us, you kick it with us. Like, there's no barrier between.
That's
right. I've met quote unquote industry artists and shit, and there's always seems to be a barrier between them and the people who
not with us
make them. It's not like that with us. Like, we're nerds like you guys are nerds. So when you come hang out with us, you're just kicking with other nerds that just happen to be kind of famous rappers. So,
hey, but you know what? You know what was dope about the Seattle show? When everybody went outside to the bar, we all took shots together. It was like about 50 heads in the bar. We all took shots together. That was
crazy.
Awesome.
That was crazy.
That was awesome, bro.
We were at this Seattle show, and I stopped in the middle of the show. I was like, you know what? I'm buying everybody a shot. Fuck it.
Yeah.
We took over the whole
Thanks
bar.
for that shot too. I never got to thank for that. That hit it real nice.
You know what? We created an experience, and that's why I tell people, if you ever get a chance to come to these GU events, you're not just going to like a concert. Like, I strip that idea from your head. That's not what you're seeing. That's not what you're going to be a part of. Like, when you come kick it with us, there's a good possibility that you're going to leave as a friend or possibly more. So, you know, it's like one of those things where, you know, don't miss your opportunity to be around us when we actually coagulate in the same area, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Is there going to be Is there going to be a chessboard again? We played chess at the end of the last show.
I don't do a show without playing chess in the middle of it. That's the only way I can focus on my rhymes.
Nice.
So with that, I want to thank everybody for showing up, hanging out with us, and jumping in the comment section. For Adequate, Rissa Polaris, Tombstone the Dead Man, my name is Grade Square, representing for Grand Unified Theory, the creative collective that basically uses their creativity to educate and inform. So on that note, shit, peace.
Peace.
Pound GU. Pound GU. You. 1, 2. My lyrics describe the physics of the next time, yo. The collisions are even measured in electron volts. See, you trying to convince me to find some Jehovah. Me? I'm trying to find the same God as Spinoza. Most of the universe, hydrogen and helium. Galaxies in the billions, traces of beryllium. Inhospitable to most life that we experience. That's why we use loose terms, eternity and infinite. But really everything experienced is finite. I got the jaws of light ready to pile in your mind light. Start at tiny large numbers, a couple trillion. Another zero you can stack at the end. Each one represents another factor of 10. Growing. Fractals is where the mathematics begin. Have to explain in dimensions below the one that you're in and show it. This is grossness, fecal matter overdosage, soak it. Every MC is a poet, but not every rapper MCs, and you know it. I believe in miracles when I see a mainstream rapper perform a lyrical without looking pitiful. I spit it uber stupid, with less viscosity than superfluid. Zero friction between me and the music. People say the words you use are too long for us. Scientists say the words I use aren't long enough. Pound GU at the party. You already know what it is. It's Grand Unified. We make music to educate and inform. Pound GU. Great explain. Welcome to the G Universe. Mighty IDs. Peace to all the MCs that's using their brain. We flow the same way like longitudinal waves. My quantum state dead and alive at the same time. Rhyme on the baseline violates space-time and causality. Here's something baffling. There's a galaxy for every star in our galaxy. I bet you didn't catch it. For the really big books, I'll go under the mattress. We put the gods of yesterday in their respective place. You're no closer to eternity than you were yesterday. You just get fly. I've been known to levitate. My crew is like individual ports. We don't separate. Knock on my door to debate. You'll leave with 3 CDs. That'll probably end up changing your fate. It's great. No, your God didn't send you to come here and save them. That was your church. They need some more people to pay them. With help, love gets lost in the message. I send you back to church with more questions that you left within a second. At my steps talking about salvation. I need saving like you need Carl Sagan. While you have no idea that you're facing the only rap played inside the space station. Amazing. Exploration or faith. Beware of the ritual. I'm of the senior staff. Your red shirt expendable. You will take me away with your women position. Listen, but you won't, so you'll get it. Right before the scroll up the credits. Down the rabbit hole, off the quantum phone, you get it. Let me hear you say, Grand Unified, Grand Unified, Grand Unified, Grand Unified, Grand Unified, Grand Unified, oh yeah, I'm talking about. Let me hear you say, hip hop lives, 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 hip hop lives. I love you. Super nasty. out. There. There's a star. With a planet. Yeah. With a species. Nothing like you. Yeah. Here goes 1 verse, 2 verse, 3 verse, 4, 5 verse, 6 verse, 7 verse more, 8 verse for the people who hate verse. Stay hurt. We made it work, now taste dirt. 1 verse, 2 verse, 3 verse, 4, 5 verse, 6 verse, 7 verse more. We embed information into the verse, a universe, omniverse, infiniverse. Today's hip hop celebrates the copycat. Every clone with the chain and a sloppy rap. I came to shit like Bukkake scat. You wanna knock me back? I'm throwing fists like a hockey scrap. Get your best verse together and just spit it. You ain't number 1, you just covered the 10th digit. We're infinite while their approach is limited. We could leave a lasting imprint if you're interested. Whether GU or gibberish in Hebrew. If we think you have knowledge, then we come in to see you. Long style, gone wild. I got marijuana that makes politicians wanna work across aisles. Soul kid, I'm a star child. So sick, I can barf vowels. You in our house, Tony Stark style. Peace, peace to Ghostface. These rappers be on their birthday and still be getting okay.
So fake, they diminish, we so great. We finished in first place and headed for curved space. Warp drive, acceleration with no brakes. Unified intelligence, nothing is opaque. So late, think I'll stay up and just go blaze. Write a dope verse that's colder than froze lakes. Okay, now we invented the mind state to kick an eternal span, horizontal figure eight. With it and winning in minutes, fitted and fitted within and given the sentences, written visions of innocence in them. And we injecting the wisdom like venom into the rhythm and send them into a new solar system. Yeah, because we out of the galaxy. This is why it's happening rapid in my anatomy. Naturally, I'd be glad to be put into the position to put any smaller numbers below me like coefficients.
Goes 1 verse, 2 verse, 3 verse, 4, 5 verse, 6 verse, 7 verse more, 8 verse for the people who hate verse. Stay hurt. We made it work, now taste dirt. 1 verse, 2 verse, 3 verse, 4, 5 verse, 6 verse, 7 verse more. We embed information into the verse, a universe, omniverse, infiniverse.
Keeping blurry eyes on my meteoric rise, epiphanies through starry sky, story guy, hot flowing magma when I rhyme. So you say you broke the mold? Well, I shattered the design. Falling objects in my path from my wrath, fucker read the signs. Smash on the weak, you flies, regurgitating feeble lines for feeding time. Keep the lies by feeding wise parables to demonize animals who eat on crime, cannibals who need a life, cannibals. Highest lines igniting light for brighter times. I am high flying through styles, avian rhymes, and maybe I'm dying, but really not. Flows immortal, spit a couplet at the multiverse and open up a portal. Flow inside the center where I enter is the door to the alpha and omega where I caught you, then I fought you. Playing chess with Orion, with your poor view making poor moves, waiting for your holy father's call. He never called you.
See all these scriptures and glimpses relating fiction to kids, created friction being placed on my corporate bids. My brain gets polluted as the arguments amid, but forbid what I'm asking, I'm no longer in the bid. It's a kid that is rapping, but a man in the midst, waiting for the perfect time to spit around from my lips. My hips below knees, it drips when I squeeze, taking shits on MCs with the greatest of ease. An artist tries his hardest to demonstrate his smarts, while the martyrs of the art world emulate our hearts. The smartest move in this and are farthest from the start, while the list breeds carnage quickly rising up the chart. You think you honor me? I don't like your honesty, and honestly, I don't even care if you're on Obama's team. And fuck society, I don't want them eyeing me. I'd rather sit back, spit, rip, and smoke a lot of weed.
1 verse, 2 verse, 3 verse, 4, 5 verse, 6 verse, 7 verse more, 8 verse for the people who hate verse. Stay hurt. We made it work, now taste dirt. 1 verse, 2 verse, 3 verse, 4, 5 verse, 6 verse, 7 verse more. We embed information into the verse, a universe, Omniverse, Infiniverse.
When I emerge, flame dispersed with a magnetic burst. But first I touch down and create shockwaves as it tremble the earth. Then push my thirst for dopeness with focused destruction of these whack styles. Foretold to bring the end to whack times like I'm Parasites. Without osmosis, your propensity for overstating, faking your significance like just something that I should be hating. Maybe you were ill once, but now we got a vaccine. Develop, research, the patent, pen, deny the lab for my team. Circle the earth twice while you're barely leaving the start block. Suggest you stop bluffing like you're making moves. We know you're not, cause this is our time and the future's that now arrives. So we're winning this game while your ass is riding the pine. You'll find some other place to be, anywhere but in front of me, cause these days they say death rock's a bald head and a gold tee. I've closely observed all your absurdity, none of it's impressive. In fact, it's quite absurd to me.
Yeah, man, I don't write a verse, I compose a multiverse. Enlighten you like a supernova that's close to Earth. The light burns, I know it hurts, you know what's worse? Living in darkness like black holes that go to church. I'm a crack baby, sick to death. Dope since birth, I'm so sick. My verse could choke a nurse. And yet I'm underground, way below the dirt. Below these rappers that don't deserve the dough they earn. Yeah, I said it, they earned it, but they don't deserve it. I'm probably wrong about that. Screw it, go and burn it. Buy yourself a $100,000 shirt, it fit you perfect, no doubt. I know it's worth it. Pull your platinum wallet out your golden person. Own a person, sex slaves are always working. They compare me to someone I used to not prefer it. Screw it, I'm Marshall Mathers, the godless version.
1 verse, 2 verse, 3 verse, 4, 5 verse, 6 verse, 7 verse, more, 8 verse. For the people who hate verse, stay hurt. We made it work, now taste dirt. 1 verse, 2 verse, 3 verse, 4, 5 verse, 6 verse, 7 verse, more. We embed information into the verse, a universe, omniverse, infiniverse.